Alright, NaNoWriMo is starting finally this month. So I'm gonna give 5 really quick tips for someone doing it the first time. Actually, this is mostly for someone who's never written a book or a story. This will be 5 really great tips that'll help you immensely when you start writing. Tip number 1, get your space. Find a place to write that's always gonna be your space to write. I don't mean go to Starbucks, I don't mean go to a store or a park. No, you wanna find a place to write that you can go to write every day, rain or shine. Always the same place. Reason for this is simple. You wanna make writing a habit, and the best way to start writing and make it a habit is to find a place where you can do it all the time, and whenever you're there, you're only writing. For me, my space is not really a different place, it's just where I write. I sit in my chair, I lean back, I put my legs up, cross them slightly, and I put my laptop in my lap. Whenever I do that, I write something. I've been doing that for a few years now, and now every time I put my laptop in my lap, I lay back and I cross my legs. The only thing that comes to mind is, oh, what am I gonna write now? It's never, oh, can I go look something up on the internet? What am I gonna research? It's never anything else. It's just, oh, I'm about to write. I wonder what I'm gonna write now. So find a place where you can write consistently and write in that place every time you go to write. And before you know it, it'll be a habit. So every time you sit down in that place or get to that place, the first thing that's gonna come to mind is, I'm gonna write something today, or I'm gonna write a story, I'm gonna finish my story. It's always gonna focus back to, I'm gonna write, because you've made it a habit that whenever you're in this place, you're writing. Tip number 2, it's time to declutter your area that you write in, or just your area that you think in. Just declutter it a little bit. Doesn't actually have to be a physical place you need to declutter. Sometimes it could just be your desktop, or where you save your files, or maybe it's a book that you write in. For me, it's my desktop. So what I do to declutter, I have Windows, so there's actually a button that says create a new desktop, create a new one. When I create a new one, it has no icons on the desktop, and that's only temporary. When I'm done writing, I just close the desktop and it goes back to my original desktop where my icons are. And before that, I used to actually select everything and put it in a folder so that there would be no actual icons on my desktop to distract me if for some reason what I'm working on gets minimized. I'm not gonna go, oh, maybe I can do this instead of going back to work. Nope, it's always clear. A lot of times I would change my desktop to be a quote from one of my books or one of the book covers that I've done, which helps motivate me even more. So a good tip is to just declutter. If you write in an actual notebook, get a new notebook. If you write in a office like space, clean up their office a little bit, make it a little bit more inviting for you to actually write. So get rid of any excess clutter and you will actually be able to write a little bit better, because your mind will be more focused and there'll be less distractions. Once you clear out the clutter, there's going to be less distractions, which is a really big part of clearing the clutter. You want to get rid of your distractions at the same time. A lot of people use Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, all these different social media. When you write, you want to make sure notifications for all that stuff is off. You don't want to be thinking about that. Tip that you can actually try is you can try just getting rid of the apps off your phone while you're writing. Disable them, uninstall them, whichever makes it easier for you, or just turn your phone off altogether so you can not have that distraction that will clutter up your mind when you're trying to work on your story. And that's very important for tip number 3, which is actually what I just went over, getting rid of your distractions. Distractions will stop any story dead in its track, because once you get distracted, your mind will wander off someplace else, and then someplace else, and then someplace else when you're supposed to be forward. So get rid of any distractions that may come up. Turn off your phone, close your web browsers, move anything out of the way that would normally distract you. Distractions or being pulled away or even stopping. And the next tip is tip number 4, uncomplicate things. Oh, this is a very big thing that I've noticed happens a lot now. That hinders a lot of writers that are new to writing. They go for complicated software to help them write. They find all these complicated diagrams to write here, 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 and here, and then try to bring it all together. You just need to uncomplicate things when you write. One of the easiest way to continue to write and have flow is to just simply uncomplicate things. Start your story, keep writing. Don't worry about chapters, don't worry about endings, don't worry about beginnings, don't worry about middle, don't worry about any kind of layout that you made before. Just write. Go with the flow. Whatever comes to mind, write it down. Fix it later on. Don't worry about your grammar, punctuation, periods, capitalizations, nothing. I don't even worry about names when I write my original drafts. Yes, I actually don't. A lot of times when I'm writing my story and I get to a character, I'll just use use either a number or I'll just use ma'am, Mrs., sir until I figure out the name I want to use. Then I go back and just change the name. It's not a very big deal because the name is not vital to the storyline, because the character is vital to the storyline. The name can come after. You can even make the name fit the character. Once you've written the character and you've written the actions the character has done, you figure out a name that'll fit. Worrying about the name first doesn't always work. So anything you can do to decomplicate things when you're writing will be a great help to allow you to continue to flow when you're writing, and it'll keep you from running into stops and brain farts and even writer's block a lot of times, because you're not worried about little tiny details. You're just going and creating a story. At number 5, which is related to number 1, is to set up a routine. Do your best to find a time of day that you're gonna write, or a specific time altogether that you're gonna write, or set up a routine where you do certain things, and then after you finish everything, you're gonna set the time that you have left to work on your writing. Even if it's, oh, when I get off work, I'm gonna spend my time doing all cleaning up, going to the gym, and then after I get home, I'm gonna relax for half an hour and then I'll write. Just set up a routine that you can follow as often as possible, because when you do this, as the time gets closer to the time where you usually spend it writing, you'll notice that your mind will start to be a little bit more creative because you're already in the routine or the habit of actually doing that thing. Your mind is gonna start to drift towards writing as the time approaches for you to actually write. So having a routine and a specific time, especially to write, will increase your creativity, because your brain will automatically start being more creative as you approach that time. So you don't have to sit around and try to get in the mood to write. Your brain will be getting itself into the mood to write way before the time even gets there. And now, tip number 6, a bonus tip that I've been doing for a long time without even realizing it was actually affecting my writing. And I noticed it was affecting my writing when I actually found out about this. And then I tried to stop doing it, and I realized how much harder it is for me to actually write. Like number 1, I told you, I lay back in my chair and I cross the bottom of my leg. I put my laptop up on my lap and I listen to music, and then I start to write. Something that was important about that is I keep my legs crossed right at my ankles always when I write. Turns out crossing your legs or your hands or anything really, as long as they cross the center point of your body, which runs down the center, crosses the hemispheres of your brain, which will help engage both parts of your brain. Simply crossing your legs when you write can actually increase your ability to be a little bit more creative or a little bit more calculated when you write, which is just a little tip that I thought might be useful, because it's something I do whenever I write. And when I don't do it, it may not stop me from writing, but I do actually write a little bit less. Not much less, but it makes it just a little bit easier for me to write. And anything you can do to help make writing a little bit easier will help you stay with it and help you complete the novel this month during NaNoWriMo. So I'm going to be getting ready and setting up my stuff for my new book that I'm going to write this month, and that'll be my 3rd book that I've written in NaNoWriMo. So hope you guys have fun doing it, and I'll see you guys next time. Remember, I'm Will, and I'll find a way.